Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I got to do my 30 seconds to make sure 30 seconds, so I make sure that no sniffers get me. But hi, Nikki, how you doing? I thought you were cleaning up. But got to make sure the sniffers don't get me. Let that 30-second time period go by. But I hope everybody's doing good tonight. I guess you saw my title said what it said. Hi, Tennessee, how you doing? But we got a systematic destruct, okay, of the message. I wonder if this is a second Tower of Babel, a replay of the Tower of Babel. Because when you see these libs trying to maintain their message, it is so in conflict with reality. They are just sitting up there babbling and they're looking at each other. They're supposed to be nodding at each other, but they can't because what they're saying doesn't make sense. Is this a new age Tower of Babel? You know, Nimrod wanted to build the tower so high he could take an arrow and shoot at God with arrow. He had that much arrogance. And you know the story from there. It came tumbling down, and everybody couldn't understand each other and were babbling and walked off. And well, as far as these mainstream media crowds or even some Libby crossing the streets, they can't make sense. Marxism doesn't make sense. Communism doesn't make sense. The tranny movement doesn't make sense. None of this stuff makes sense. And what's funny about it, what's been going around is a video of John Kerry, Lurch, at a House hearing, and he's talking about the CO emissions and all this stuff. And I think he might be a freshman representative, gets up there and just makes a monkey out of him to the point where John Kerry's saying, well, if we get to over 350 parts per million of carbon dioxide or whatever kind of boogeyman gas they say is floating around in the atmosphere, it's unsustainable. And this congressman says, well, you know, X number of years ago it was 500 million or a million parts per million, three times that. And John Kerry said, well, humans weren't on the earth then. And this guy said, well, now it's a 1/3, and we weren't on the earth when it was really high, so how can you blame us? And it was laughable. And it got to the point where John Kerry says, this conversation is not making any sense. And the representative said, you got that right. It's not making any sense. So it's fun in a way to watch this stupidity. And hi, Robin. Hi, Diane. Let me see who I've missed so far. Oh, gosh, got a lot of people in. Cliff came in, Lone Wolf, Quilt, Damon, Kim, how you doing? Hi, Tyne. Interesting tidbits. Hi, Marla. There's a two cups of coffee. Ha ha. She's Sharon. How you doing? Roberto. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Ronald. Everybody's rolling in. Diane Valenzuela, nice to see you. Okay, everybody's coming in. And I've also got in there Kennedy Ops. And for some reason, this keyboard on this particular service that I'm using won't let me put a parentheses around an S without a space for some reason. Is it one op, two ops? I mean, because there's a couple of Kennedys in the news that we know, the real news. And I think it's very interesting, the dynamics, because they're both wreaking havoc. Now, whether it's because they want to or I don't know. We're going to get into that. We'll talk about this Barbie movie. Oh, that thing has raked in over almost $160 million on its first weekend, making Indiana Jones look ridiculous. I know it's got a woke message. I know it's got a liberal message, but we'll talk about some of that more too. Why I think that's not an issue. And we're going to talk about all the movie numbers if I could pull that stuff up, because it's very telling about our culture and the way this false economy is being torn down, how this mockingbird message is being destructed. There's a construct and there's a destruct, and we're in the middle of destructing the common message we've been being peppered and battered with for decades. It's all being exposed to being nonsensical garbage. So, and it's really interesting to see creators on YouTube, from all over the spectrum, races, backgrounds, cultures, that they're all zeroing in on how foolish things have been going and picking out their heroes. Hi, Sinsen, how you doing? Just had to have a quick sip of my coffee. But I tell you what, I went and checked out True Social, and Mr. T put up, I don't know how many times he posted, not a whole lot today, but 3 of the memes he put up today, back to back, were the exact memes I put up in the last couple of weeks. I took screenshots of them, except one he cropped out. It was a girl with a bikini on, and she had her hands spread out over a sign. What? Let me see if I can pull that up. Whoops! I knocked myself. Did I knock myself off broadcast? No, I'm still here. Good. I got to watch it. I go a little bit off with where I'm pecking on the screen, and it'll take me out of here. But anyway, yeah. That it would come out. It's a blue sign with white letters that J6 is set up as a staged riot to cover up the fact that they certified a fraudulent election. And right after that, actually it was 4 memes up today that I put up over the last, I think, just last week. So I really enjoy that. It's not that I'm in with the in crowd, other than unified message. We comprehend and understand what's going on, and all ships are going in the same direction. We're talking sense. We're talking the obvious. We're making sense. Okay? And let John Kerry try to say humans are causing climate change, and at the same time explain how it was more carbon dioxide in the air before humans even got involved. So, like I said, my old friend said a long time ago, dinosaurs were pooping on this earth and nobody said nothing about it then. Hi, Henri. Oh, I know I got a thumbs up now. Ha ha. Pappy Two Bears. Wild West. I'll say hi to people twice sometimes. I don't know. Hard to keep track. But if I've forgotten to, please forgive me. So, Clever Clear. We don't put up with those kinds of emojis, so you'll probably get, Nikki, you want me to time them out and they can come back, or did you just take care of them? Because we can't have nothing but emojis, keywords or a lot of capital letters. Clever Clear. I'll get that comment off there with a 3-minute timeout if you haven't, because I can't tell. Hi, Mike 1176. How you doing? Let me go ahead and give that person a Clever Clear. I'm giving you 3 minutes, and please understand you can't have all emojis in your comments. You're welcome aboard if you're a person of good intent, and even if you don't like Trump. and want to have a brisk conversation, satire and comedy between ourselves. Well, I gave him a timeout, Nikki. 3 minutes. You can do that standing on your head, Clevin, and we'll see you. Either that, or you're just, I don't know if you're real or nothing or not. I don't know. You're welcome to come back and have a great conversation in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So let's see. Anyway, I'm tooting my own horn about that. And another meme he put up said, Cummings, I put it up a couple of times. It's gold trim. I'll put it up next time I do a picture show. So what it reinforces, it says coming soon, or coming soon, 4 more years. And then there's a picture of Trump with the presidential seal around him. My point is that we all get on the same page. Now, I notice some people are trying to get into the mix with some wild and crazy stuff. Let me get another sip of my coffee. Keep me fired up. Hi, Rick. How you doing? That's right, Diane. I saw that too. I put that picture up before with him in the blue dress and red high heels. Actually, that picture was hanging in Epstein's townhouse in New York. And it was one of the first things you saw. And I can get another copy of that picture from the you-know-what letter posts, because they put that up there, 5 years ago. So I can get another copy of it. But every time I put it up, I get taken down. But now I guess they're putting it up on, what did you say, Gateway Pundit? Yeah. So, they can't block the world. They can't block the world. So, okay, Robin said she couldn't see that character either. Clever clear. But anyway, that's strange. Why it would just be visible to me? But it wasn't a big deal. If they don't come back, it's no big deal. But if they come back and follow the rules, they're welcome aboard. And if they don't, well, we just carry on like usual, folks. Hi, David. How are you? Well, something's happening every day, David. And that's one of the things that I've been going, like when I went over the 17 posts, I was putting out there posts and words that you could, very few short words you can cue in and read 13 posts with those words in there, not as a way to complicate them or decode them, but just to show how often the similar theme is coming through about D-class, about transparency, about what the DS fears the most. How many people have been fired in the federal government, which, like I said, is like pulling teeth. A historic number of people have been removed since Trump got in office out of some big 3-letter agencies, top tier people, for those who think nothing is going on. How many people are being arrested for human trafficking? How many people are being arrested for different crimes against young people? Okay, there's all different types of crimes, how many indictments there are. I mean, 6 years ago or 5 years ago, it was 40-some thousand. Everybody's going, gosh, that's a historic number of indictments. And yes, it was. But now it's well over 200,000. Well over 200,000. Hi, Nix. How you doing? Thank you, Nikki, for putting my link in the description. Everybody wants to help the channel out. I got a link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. It's a viewer-supported and creator-supported channel only. Hi, Finding Dory. I can see you now. Good, you dead down. You got a picture up, with those big, beautiful brown eyes, So, I guess it's okay in this day and age for a man to compliment a woman. Used to be fine and dandy if you did that, if you had carried some class with you. Did I hear the speech Resident Moron did on AI? He said he was AI. Ha ha ha. Well, he's artificial something. I wouldn't even use the word intelligence with Biden. It does not compute. Intelligence and the name Biden. It's still like Trump said in the debate he had with Biden. Don't talk to me about smart, okay? Because you were the last in your class, near last in your class. So that's an old New York way of saying, don't somebody arguing with you and they say something, whatever issue it is, don't talk to me about that. Don't talk to me about being smart, Joe. They may have been blocked before, Robin says. That's true. That's true. Well, they should be able to come back on in a little bit if they were just coming here to goof around. They probably went on to greener pastures to goof around because I just gave them a timeout. So anyway, we'll see how that works out. Anyway, have you all heard anything about this Barbie movie? And I'm not into pop culture. I'm not bringing it up. I'm talking about what I consider to be issues that disrupt the headlock that the communists, Marxists, and maniacs, as Mr. T says, have had on so many industries where they give incomes and power to otherwise unhirable people. Let me give you an example. Everybody remembers Mayor for Life, DC Mayor Marion Barry, right? When he got nailed for crack in DC, and he said the bleep set me up. The bleep set me up. Who set him up? I'll tell you who set him up. A girlfriend of his, right? She got him to buy crack, and he got busted. Well, what was buried 20 paragraphs down, a lot of you who were around during that time paying attention to news, noticed that since she was his girlfriend, she got a busy job in the government, remember? Now, this was back in the 1990s, and she was getting just under 100 grand, maybe over 100 grand. I can't remember, but it was something that we were all going, man, that's a good living to be making. And her job was something like, I don't know, driving around to make sure the light poles are straight, or, something you could say. They're like, where you been? If anybody even asks you where you been, you say, oh, I was driving around doing my job. I just seen make sure all the light poles were straight. You can go anywhere you want in the city. Could care less about a crooked light pole. Go stay home all day. Who cares? You're the mayor's mistress. And get an assistant, to make your coffee when you do show up, and fill out a couple forms and tell them, hey, fill that form out and say there was 3 crooked light poles last week, but it looks like they straightened themselves back out. I don't care what you put, but file a report. You got a flunky who gets a busy no-show job, just nothing, not needed, and there's 100 grand, 200 grand budget to throw out toward this person. They hire another flunky to be their assistant, and so on and so forth. They get office supplies, they get all this stuff. They'll do anything to keep that job. But in her case, she would do anything to stay out of jail, even rat out her boss. That's another story altogether. But you see how the game is played. And that happens on local levels too, in local governments. But they had the stranglehold on tech industries. Do you think Twitter's the only tech industry that if they fired 80% of the people, the company would actually do better? That's what Elon Musk did. He fired 80% of the staff, and they were all useless. They were only there for censorship and to push the message. And you think that's the only place? They do it in the governments. They do it on Facebook. They do it on Google. They do it. All those platforms were created by the government. And then they were passed off to private citizens under the protection of whatever that act is, 250 or 251 or whatever. And then the government used it as a black site to continue the message. So all that's getting busted up and broken apart. But with that theme in mind of what I'm saying, let's start with one Kennedy being Kathleen Kennedy. Because there's a number of Kennedys people have got, notions on or wondering what's going on. Excuse me while I have another sip of my coffee. Wait a second, I got a message. Let's see here. Awaken Trillium. Ha ha. Put yourself a couple of booms in there, Awaken Trillium. Stop by the coffee house for me. I appreciate it. This program is sponsored by Awaken Trillium. Now, excuse me while I have a sip of my coffee. But anyway, take a look at Disney. Do you think if a foreign interest group was going to infiltrate this country and try to take it over in a non-kinetic way using illegal psychological warfare campaigns? Of course they'd infiltrate tech companies. Of course they'd infiltrate the government at all levels. Of course they would infiltrate our entertainment industry. Yeah, it's taken decades. But hey, they've been winning without firing a shot, right? Thank you, Nicky. Boom, boom, boom. Hi, camperman. How you doing? So anyway, here's Disney taking a historic beating at the box office. Now, Barbie, mind you, is a Warner Brothers project. We'll get into that in a second. And there's only so much theater money to go around. It's not like, hey, if we put out 200 great movies, 200 movies are going to be treated like great movies, and people will come and spend money 200 times a year. No, most Americans can't afford that, even if they're great movies. They know there's a certain number of movies that are going to bring in a certain amount of money. It's kind of like you sell a truckload of bread every week for, I don't know how long. Just because you make 10 truckloads doesn't mean everybody's going to buy it. So there's a certain limit where people are going to quit spending. But I don't want to get too technical, too far into the weeds. I do want to say, though, Kathleen Kennedy has been in charge of Lucasfilms since 2012. Can you believe that? Over a decade since Disney bought Lucasfilms, the Star Wars franchise, all that stuff off of George Lucas. And they paid him over $4 billion. And movie after movie after movie has been a gastrointestinal disaster for the studio, for the fans, for everybody. It's been awful. And everybody's saying, well, she needs to be fired. She needs to be fired. Because she's the one making all these decisions, allegedly. So here comes Indiana Jones. I could mention movies, and I've done it in the past, and I won't do it again, but I just say all kinds of cultural icons and sure bets as far as making money at the box office have been turned into disasters. Well, they never fire her. And they keep going. They keep losing money. They got to close the theme parks. They got to do this and that. They're losing their exclusive rights to Mickey Mouse this year. The end of the copyright, or early next year, I can't remember exactly when, after over 100 years. There's no more extensions. So, what's going on? Then you have DeSantis coming in and saying, okay, I'm taking away all your tax benefits and everything in Florida. Trump says, watch out, Ron. That might not work because they may sell off their holdings. Watch. And he said that months before we found out that Disney has very little liquid cash on hand. I think it was $200 million. And that they have to perform on a contract on a first option to buy Hulu. They have to buy it and they have to pay a certain amount of money, which is going to be decided very soon. They have no liquid cash. A movie they thought was going to bring them in 900 million barely brought them in 300 million. There's Snow White. They have to change the script before they let it out. But, oh, wait a minute. We can't do that because of the writer's strike. We can't release the movie the way it is. We have to reshoot the ending because it's so ridiculous, and test audiences either puked on the floor or laughed and got up and left. But we can't redo it. So who's behind that? Everybody says Kathleen. Well, this is the end of Kathleen Kennedy. This is the end of Kathleen Kennedy. Well, come to find out, her contract is rock solid, that she cannot be fired. How can you do that? Well, apparently George Lucas put in there, the notion is everybody thought, well, that he thought she was going to be faithful to the brand and his vision. So he made sure that they couldn't fire her. But there's one thing she can be fired for, is if she gets caught committing a criminal act or a violation of the morals clause. That's the only thing. Why is that? Well, I heard that there was a big meeting, and I talked about this fleetingly before, with Bob Iger and all the big shots at Disney. And Kathleen Kennedy said, you're the ones who insisted on following with the ESG or whatever it is, whatever that woke 3-letter bank requirement, okay, from the NWO and Georgie Porgy Soriosio. What are those letters? I can't remember. But anyway, she threw it back at him. She's still there. Her contract doesn't expire till, I don't know if it's a year and a half, 2 years, when it expires. Is it a purposeful destruction of that empire? I don't know. But is it being done for spite? It certainly doesn't make the message look very good. So, okay, what does that do to the number of loaves of bread in the truck that you sell every week? You can't sell 2 truckloads. There's only enough to go around for 1 truckload. Boom. Sound of Freedom. They've taken over a half a decade to get this film let out, to time it in such a way that there would be enough money available to buy those loaves of bread. The Sound of Freedom loaves of bread. You know, it's not conspiracy, it's a fact. There's only so much money to go around for certain things. You have so much money in your budget for food. You have so much money in your budget for a car payment, you know? So, have Disney make a surefire movie a miss, a misfire. A surefire is a misfire. And people are like, I like to go to a movie. I haven't got, well, if they went to see, spent their however many bucks it is on a good version of Indiana Jones, they'd say, I'll go look at Sound of Freedom next week or next month because I can't afford it right now. Oh, wait a minute. I heard Indiana Jones sucked. So let me see the Sound of Freedom. Hey, when you're dealing with corporations, you're dealing with money, you're dealing with how an insurgency finances itself through these non-governmental organizations, all different ways that they do it. Hey, how do you make the money dry up so they can't pay their soldiers, right? This is, I think, is part of an operation to turn Hollywood upside down. So everybody's going, well, the Barbie movie is a woke garbage and it did $150-60 million. Well, one thing, it's Warner Brothers. And a little something about Warner Brothers. That is where Clint Eastwood ended up making a home for himself and putting out the Dirty Harry movies and a lot of things like that. It was kind of like a rogue studio rather than Universal Studios, and all these other big names where, it's more of a liberal Hollywood culture. Warner Brothers, you had more creative flexibility. But anyway, I don't know about today, but hey, it went a long way to helping Clint Eastwood be a star and a force in Hollywood. And so Warner Brothers has got Barbie. I will say this about when the Barbie movie, they were showing previews, pictures of the Barbie movie. I was saying to myself, wow, that is some high level production. That is something that if a kid or an adult that used to play with Barbies know about Barbies for years. Hey, and I've got nieces, I've got great nieces. I know about Barbie and Dora the Explorer and all that kind of stuff. I mean, hey, kids, they love stuff like that. And the colors in the movie, somebody knew what they were doing as far as set production, costumes. I said, wow, that is high quality. That's not a like the Star Wars movies that we were just talking about with Kathleen Kennedy. So much CGI and nitwit stunts and theatrics that were just not even recalling the old glory of the Star Wars thing. You could see it in the trailers. Well, in the trailers for Barbie, it was like, wow, that is, bringing back some notions of the past and memories of the past of exactly what the toy represented. Now, the message in the movie, wait a minute, what's their target audience? The target audience is tweens, 7, 8, 9-year-old girls, right? Okay. Parents that grew up with Barbies. Now, let me tell you something. An adult that played with Barbies, all right, made sure she had her hair and her outfit, her boat, her car, all, collecting that kind of stuff. As an adult, I'll bet you that wants to go bring back those memories by taking their little girl to see that movie. I guarantee you, they're not a blue-haired, pink-haired, freaked-out looking member of the counterculture. Okay? Just by the draw of the memories, you got the adults. There wasn't foul language. There wasn't anything there. You remember when we went to school? Girls are sugar and spice and everything nice. We recited that. And boys are made of worms and dirt or whatever it was, okay? Okay, so they knock on guys in the film. Okay, I'm not translating that into some big it's a kids movie or adults that have already made up their minds about relationships because they played with Barbies, they grew up, they had children, they're taking care of their kids and they're trying to be entertained in a movie theater. They're responsible adults. I don't think any kind of message that Hollywood is trying to inject into that Barbie movie is going to penetrate a solid sense of convictions. And kids are kids. They're going to see that movie and say, "Oh, that's right. The boys are kind of dumb and made of worms and dirt, and girls are sugar and spice and everything nice." Okay. Oh, hey, that's been going on since the 50s, 40s. So bam, makes 160 million. Now, it may fade out money wise, but that's money Disney didn't get. Okay. That's money some of these other woke goofball movies didn't get. Somebody wants to see Sound of Freedom by now, by cracky, they're going to go see it. Okay. They'll come up with the extra money. If they saw something else already, they'll buy that second loaf, even if they don't need it. They're going to go to Sound of Freedom. So to watch this cultural struggle and the dynamics of what's going to happen. Hey, is Bob Iger going to get fired from Disney? Is Disney going to have to sell a lot of the potential rights to movies in the future that can be done properly? Hey, maybe if they took Barbie and did it, got rid of all the woke messaging, which kids don't even care about or understand. They just want to see Barbie's Corvette. They want to see this and that. And Ken can make a goofball of himself because that's the way boys usually are at school. You remember we used to want to get a girl's attention. We act like a dummy, a clown, So, hey, could they have done it a little different? I don't know. I don't care. I don't think it's impacting the culture that much. But the ones with Disney where they have destroyed icons, where DC Comics, Marvel has been bought out by Disney, all these big names that have been destroyed, they're going to have to spin a lot of that stuff off as intellectual property. And what did I say about who was the interested buyer for Lucasfilms, which I think owns other stuff like Marvel Comics, Marvel Universe? It's all under Disney umbrella. And then DC Comics, where they made Superman gay. They were talking about making everybody gay in the next Star Wars. I'm not kidding. I mean, Star Trek, the next generation. Okay. They're talking, they've got it on the table to make everybody have sugar in their gas tank. So, hey, they might have to let go of that. Now, I was talking about that the word on the street was cash money's on the table for Lucasfilms and some of the other brands that would triple what they paid George Lucas for. And the buyer isn't George Lucas. It's somebody from Saudi Arabia. And what do we know from a lot of the posts I've been over? Wonderland is Saudi Arabia. That was the first family that fell out of the four families that are puppet families. Then you have puppet master families, okay, above them. But the puppet families we know in America or North America was the Clintons' puppet family. In the Middle East, it was the Saudis. The House of Saud had a family that needed to get removed and was removed. They gave Trump the sword dance. He's the leader. He put out the tweet that was taken down, and the actual word was removed on Google, Kofefe. Okay. It was mocked as a typo. Who the heck is going, the president of the United States is going to misspell coffee? And that is, shows the effectiveness of the past effectiveness of the illegal psychological warfare campaign, which the entire media and everything I've talked about earlier, how cohesive it was, that, and how willing to believe, like I said in my other broadcast, lie to me, I promise I'll believe, Sheryl Crow song, the willingness to believe by some of these liberals that Trump is, well, as president of the United States, would just misspell coffee. And then all of a sudden, that word disappears. The definition is scrubbed by Google. And everybody keeps playing along with it. He can't spell coffee. He can't spell coffee. When it was Arabic for I will stand. So we know all this. We're the news. We knew all this. And I'm sure there's people in the broadcast that didn't have the kind of mural or mental picture of a lot of the things that I've been talking about today. But things, when you're talking about things that affect our culture and our economic situation, like the healthcare industry, the entertainment industry, of course, we're going to have a counterinsurgency in those areas. We've been suffering from an insurgency in all the areas that I've discussed. Now we're doing a counterinsurgency. And I'm just wondering if Kathleen Kennedy, hey, I don't know. Because let me tell you, she's been a bull in a china shop. She's cost them a lot of money and they can't touch her. She's protected for some reason. And she's almost single-handedly forcing them to live up to this, holding this narrative, ESG, Marxist, things that repulse people, holding it up under everybody's nose. And then you've got with Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch Company, you've got, it's like somebody's forcing them to hold that Dylan Mulvaney up under everybody's nose and say, look at this. Okay, look at what you're supporting. If you support Biden, if you support Hillary, look at this, smell it and look at it. Is this what you want for your life? Okay, how about this news report of armored vehicle with IRS agents and flak jackets and machine guns kicking a door down in a mall? Is that what you want? And you look underneath the helmet, there's pink and purple hair sticking out from underneath it. So, hi, Redhausen, how you doing? Jerry Lee, how are you? Hi, Kim. So, just seeing who's come in. So anyway, try not to get distracted by things that, I mean, there's no point in talking about whether, what's his name, Jamie, one who plays Wanda, he put out a video where he said, I've been through hell, and I'm so glad I didn't want you all to see me with tubes coming out of me. But it was rough, and he looked rough. He looked like he lost a lot of weight. And he mentioned, no, he said, this is not a clone. And he made one eye go crooked, and then he made the other eye go crooked. He said, my eyes work. This is the way I am. But right away, somebody started putting that out, that were the times he was seen in public, it was a clone. Come on, folks, give me a break. I want to know why he got sick. I want to know if he's going to discuss why he got sick. If he's going to let the cat out of the bag and get with the other Kennedy, okay, RFK, who is doing two things, okay? He's exposing the pharmaceutical issues this country's been suffering through, I'll put it that way. And he's also exposing the censorship and the politicians that are participating in it and calling it what it is, what they've been doing to Trump, what they've been doing to him, what they've been doing to all of us is slander, okay? Knowingly repeating lies. So, hey, what's his name now? I've got his picture in here. Let me see if I can pull that up. He said many times his positions on things like Oprah, Hollywood in general. Oh, gosh. Spirit cooking, all that stuff. Jamie Foxx, yeah. So, anyway, what he survived. I'm not buying a clone thing, and I'm looking at a picture of him before and after. You take a picture, take a look at somebody. When you renew your driver's license, look at the new one versus the old one 5 years earlier. You're going to look different because you're getting old. But we haven't seen this person in, what, half a year? Plus, he was very, very ill. I've had friends, okay, that have gone through illnesses. And I hate to say it, I've gone through illnesses. And I don't look like I did, before anything happened. I'm not drastically different, but you can tell. People's faces get lean. Even the pallor of their skin takes on different color. So don't fall into, yeah, Jerry Lee, his skin was lighter. That's called a pallor, Pallor. And like Rush Limbaugh, within a 90-day period, I noticed before he was diagnosed with lung cancer, I saw him on a podcast. And I'd watched the podcast about 3 months earlier, and 3 months later, I saw him. I said, "Oh my God, there's something wrong with him." The texture of his skin and the power of his skin had changed. Sure enough, I think within 2 months after I made that mental note to myself, he was diagnosed with cancer. So, yeah, when people get other people to repeat stuff about clones, the people that they're talking to that aren't going on the internet all the time looking for what's happening with the deep state, what's happening with the puppet master families, the New World Order, people like that need to be woke up. If they hear stuff like that, Jamie Foxx has got a clone. That's really a clone. They grow them, and they can only live for about 6 months, and then the clones start breaking down. Okay, and they got a time machine at the Vatican. That's the kind of stuff. Nobody's going to take people that talk like that seriously, and we already know they make masks. Okay, that are very real. We've seen them in action 30 years ago, where people sitting right next to somebody couldn't even tell. What do you think if Jamie Foxx is going to put out somebody else besides his real deal self? What's the best way to go? A mask and a person with a similar build? Or grow a clone? So, really, don't let people toss you off on that kind of talk. Last thing I noticed on Kennedy's was is Donald Trump Kennedy's cousin? Okay, we're going to get into all that now. I guess we'll revive the Patton is Kennedy's, Trump's father, and Patton was killed by, Patton got in a car wreck. He lingered for months and he died. But if they'd have wanted him assassinated, it wouldn't have been like that. So anyway, I'm going off on tangents that I tell people to stay away from. So, as far as the Kennedys go, if what a lot of people are thinking in their hearts and hoping in their minds, that I'll address one day. I'll discuss the plane crash. I'll discuss JFK Jr.'s relationship with Donald Trump. I'll discuss all this stuff one night. But for tonight, I'm going to say it this way. I had a long conversation with somebody about 6 months ago. No, a year ago, right when I first started broadcasting. And I said, well, because they got very upset talking about JFK Jr. Convinced. These were one of the people that went to Dallas with Mike Penny wearing Q shirts. Because they get rambunctious if you say, hey, I don't think JFK Jr. is going to Trump rallies dressed like Santa Claus or whatever. They get really mad. Well, that's not rational thinking, but rational thinking is to say, wouldn't that be wonderful if he was? It would not surprise me if he was. Okay? Save that for the cherry on top of the cake, if it's true. But don't make it the cake. The cake is that our way of life and our civilization is on the edge. We've been in danger for decades. We've been being ripped off, suppressed, poisoned with inferior food products, medical products, chemicals. We've been divided. Our families have been divided. Our moral fiber has been cut away at by a counterculture of perverts and weirdos that have gotten into your living room through a television, your bedroom through a phone, in front of the eyes of your child. They've terrorized everybody with the thing you put over your face. Got strangers fighting themselves in grocery stores and out in parking lots. They've got people throwing rocks at other people because they light a barbecue up because they think they're destroying the world with global warming. Another lie and psychological operation. They're pushing us to World War III, to where there'd be a flash so bright you'd think somebody lit one of the Polaroid flash bulbs off in your room, but the flash came from 100 miles away. What was that? A bomb, okay? That's the kind of stuff we got to worry about. Not clones, not the article about JFK Jr. got rescued by a colonel that intercepted. No. What stuff is real that people can get their hands on and see for themselves? Okay, human trafficking. When Donald Trump gets back in office, he's going to have people that conduct human trafficking executed. Okay, people that import drugs into this country. That's the kind of stuff that needs to be got out. The other side is not going to do anything about that. The other side is going to make that stuff worse, as a matter of fact. The other side's going to give you a little plastic card, okay? And get other businesses not to accept anything but that plastic card. Cash, a thing of the past. They could track everything you do. What do you think the MVP cards at Food Line were about? What do you think the cards at Walmart were about? What do you think the cards at People's were about? Peebles. To get a discount? Target. Don't forget your Target card. No. So they know every damn thing you buy, everything about you. Even if you use cash, you're going to use your Target card so I can get my discount. You're going to use your credit card that gives you miles and rewards and a bag of Tootsie Rolls at the end of the year, whatever they tempt people with. So they can know every damn thing you're doing. And if you get a line, you swipe the card, sorry, card declined, sorry, card declined. What? Well, let me tell you, when you're pulling a lot of cash out of your pocket, that don't get declined. But they want to get rid of that, folks. And that's the last thing that I mentioned. It'll be the least of your worries if the other things I mentioned earlier about our food, about our chemicals in the water, in the sky, eating bugs, on and on, if that stuff's allowed to go on unabated. Because we can have clean water, Kamala said, once we reduce the population. That's a nice way of saying exterminate. How do you get rid of how do you lower the population by 80%? More than that. If you follow Georgia Guidestones, it's 95%. By managing our resources, or like John Kerry said, managing our food structure and carbon footprint by limiting the growth of food. What kind of maniacal talk is that? That is babble. That's something that doesn't make sense. And the more we talk about it, the more people wake up to it. And the more people that wake up, these talking heads on the TV news agencies, these politicians sitting in a chair trying to make themselves look smart, are going to look like nonsense morons. I didn't forget AI, Tubla. We've been dealing with that already. Well, the F9 algorithm, which maybe I'll get in trouble for saying that tonight. I don't know. We've already had AI infiltrate Meta, Facebook. It's been controlling the message for decades. The reason they're throwing AI out there now is when the pictures come out showing certain people doing things, they will say it's generated by AI. Well, hey, this artificial intelligence has been running the major social platforms for decades already. It's not something new that they're developing. They're just bringing it up so you won't believe your own eyes, okay, when you start to see evidence come out. They will blame it on AI. Mirroring. Well, digital currency can come, digital currency can come if it wants to, but cash will be king if that's all you'll take for it. The other side's going to try to give me an unlocking pill. Jason, how you doing, Jason? Sorry to hear that, Melvina. hopefully it'll abate that level of bad luck. I'm just looking at the chats. Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. That's what they're trying to say, Jason. That CO2 is us. We're the problem. So, well, we're starting to let people know in a rational way that that they're screwing with us, and if we don't watch out, we could lose it all. And if 2016 hadn't gone the way it went, things would be a horror show by now. That's how I know that somebody's doing something. Ah, I see, Tennessee. Yeah, I'm sure. Now, FB is losing clout, and this Instagram, or what do you call it, Threads is falling apart, and people are realizing it's just a liberal. But they're going to find out how small a crowd they are. How small a crowd they are. Let them try to make an echo chamber strictly for lefty lunatics. And that is, I think, what this Threads operation is. Because they're going to see just how lonely they are. And if they do get on there, who the heck wants to sit there and listen to a bunch of BS nonsense liberal talking points? They'll make each other sick. And they'll see just how small a force they are. Said they were short on cash, Kim said. Well, I always carry cash, and I carry plenty of change. I carry plenty of change. So anyway, let me see. What's her name? Fanny 2x4 put the police force in Atlanta on high alert. Apparently because she's going to be going after Mr. T, and who knows why the Atlanta police force would be on high alert. That's right, Jerry Lee. You can just only imagine if she would have won, they would have permanently altered the selection process. 1. 2, when Ouchie made his move, him and the others, Big Pharma, they'd been forcibly giving people something, okay, in the shoulder. The economy would have been permanently crippled. And on and on and on. You can imagine it. They probably did, Karen. Yeah, I would say they did. Ha ha ha. It was the dinosaurs. So, anyway, let me see. Oh my gosh, we have another investigative journalist, ex-network investigative journalist, pleads guilty to CHILD abuse material charges. They didn't have just child porn in their computer, They had pictures of abuse occurring. That's a higher level. And this stuff is going to start coming out, and they're not going to be able to hide it. This is, what was this character? A former investigative journalist for ABC News pleaded guilty Friday to federal child sexual abuse material charges. James Gordon Meek, 53 years old, of Arlington, Virginia, admitted during a plea hearing in U.S. District Court in Alexandria that he illegally possessed and transported images of the aforementioned abuse. That's my saying for it. Court papers indicate the investigation began when the FBI received a tip from Dropbox about videos showing the sexual abuse of children in an account associated with Meek. And I don't mean to gross you all out, but this included infants, okay? So this is where when people get caught with creating that kind of stuff, that's where quick trials come in. So I don't want to read too much of this, but Snap affidavit said the evidence also shows he used Snapchat and other acts to pressure minor into sending him explicit images and portrayed himself as a girl in some of those communications. So that's he did a plea deal where he could he faces up to 40 years in prison, but he wants to be able to contest how they got his computers, the illegal search, and so anyway, just want to let you know, folks, this was a guy working in one of the other areas that have been infiltrated, which is the media, okay? We can break it down: entertainment, media, government, medical, universities, okay? All these areas, I'm sure, they have it laid out where they have and how far they have infiltrated. And they don't have to have somebody who's sworn allegiance to Mao or Stalin or any kind of nothing. All they need is a loser that they have the power to give a great job to. And that loser will do whatever they're told to keep that job. That's all they need. Yeah, millstone necklace. That's right, Tennessee. Ha ha. Well, Larry, I would, if you have somebody in your family and you see that article, just forward them a link. They can read the article for themselves. Hi, Outlandish. How are you doing? Let me see. This article is an AP article, Associated Press. Let me see. Written by Matthew Barakat, Barakat. Associated Press article. Ex-network investigative journalist. His name is James Gordon Meek. And he is a creep. And I guarantee you, he talks about climate change, and he tries to put guilt trips on people and drives an EV or a hybrid. How much you want to bet? Ha ha ha, wood chipper. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. I really do. And I will be going live. I might do a Bumble Jump soon. Do a live on Utizzle for, somewhere between a half hour to an hour, and then do a bumble jump. What do y'all think? Go over some posts and stuff that, if I haven't got myself in trouble already, stuff that that's a little more edgy, but always keep it real, folks. Hey, don't talk about the clones. Don't talk about a lot of the stuff I talk about. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it focused. Mr. T's putting out stuff. We got Dan Scavino putting out stuff. Articles that we can share and talk about in a realistic manner. All right, y'all. Have a great night. And I will, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And you can be part of the chats. And thank you, everybody who watches the show after the broadcast. I appreciate you too. And leave a comment in the hard comments if you are watching after the show. And yes, please hit the thumbs up, Nikki said. I appreciate that. And I got a link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. Anybody wants to help the channel out. So I will be talking to y'all soon. I appreciate you being here. You all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.